Picture this. You're at your desk, staring at a sea of charts that look more like a roller coaster than a roadmap to profits. Your palms are sweaty. The price of a stock you just bought is tanking. You feel your heart rate rising, your mind racing. You want to scream or maybe throw your mouse across the room. Sound familiar? We've all been there. Trading isn't just about numbers or charts or strategies. It's also about emotions. And those emotions? They can get completely out of hand. Here's the thing. One of the biggest challenges we face as traders is managing our emotions, especially when things are going south. In the poker world, they call this tilt. It's that state of frustration and anger that clouds your judgment and makes you double down on bad decisions. But tilt isn't exclusive to poker. Traders know it all too well. Imagine you bought shares at $50 and they dropped to $45 in the blink of an eye. Your instinct? Revenge trade. You chase that loss, hoping to get back to even. But instead, you dig a deeper hole. The red candle on your trading screen blinks like a warning light, but your emotions are screaming louder. A Slack notification pings, breaks your focus, and piles onto the chaos. So how do we stop this cycle? How do we keep our cool when the market feels like it's personally out to get us? Next, we're going to get into what tilt actually means in poker and how that concept maps directly onto your trading life. Stick around, because mastering this can genuinely change everything. Picture this. You're at a poker table, cards in hand, chips neatly stacked in front of you. The stakes are high, the room buzzing with tension. You've got a decent hand, but then bam, a bad beat hits you out of nowhere. Suddenly, those calm calculations you were making just minutes ago scatter like leaves in a storm. That's tilt. It's that moment when your emotions hijack your decision-making, and instead of playing smart, you start playing angry. Tilt is the poker player's worst enemy. It's when frustration and anger take the wheel, and you start chasing losses or making reckless bets you wouldn't normally consider. It's the emotional response that clouds your judgment, turning strategy into chaos. And it doesn't just happen to rookies. Even seasoned pros fall into the tilt trap if they're not careful. Let's say you just lost a big hand, and you're sitting there, fuming. Your stack is down, and that little voice in your head is screaming, "Get it back." You double down on the next hand with a pair of sevens, hoping to recover fast. But the more you press, the deeper you sink. Honestly, you can almost hear the chips clattering and feel the heat rising in your cheeks. So how does this translate into trading? What happens when tilt crosses over from the poker table to your trading platform? That's where emotional trading comes in, and this poker concept actually helps us understand our market decisions better. Let's look at how this plays out when it comes to trading. Picture this. You're sitting at your trading desk, watching the green ticks just vanish, replaced by a wall of red. Heart pounding, palms sweaty, and every price drop feels like a personal attack. Sound familiar? That's emotional trading, our version of tilt. It's when emotions start running the show instead of logic. We all want to be rational, but when things get heated, frustration clouds your judgment, and you start making impulsive moves. Like revenge trading, that urge to claw back your losses immediately, whatever it takes. Say you bought a stock at $100, thinking it was a solid bet. Then boom, it drops to $95. Panic kicks in. You sell fast, scared it's going lower, and then it bounces right back. Now you're furious, and in that emotional haze you buy back in at $98, totally convinced it's heading up. Instead, it slides to $92. That's emotional trading doing its damage. It's like the ticker is mocking you. Every red flash on the screen, a reminder of where you went wrong. The real skill is catching yourself when you're on tilt. Step back, pause, breathe. Traders who actually nail this start making decisions based on strategy, not gut punch reactions. So how do you get from that chaos to something calmer? In the next segment, we'll get into how emotional balance can genuinely change how you trade. Picture this. You're sitting at your trading desk, charts on the screen, coffee in hand. You just took a loss on a stock you were sure would break out. Heart racing, that gnawing urge to jump right back in and chase the loss. That's tilt. Now flip it. Same scenario, but instead of reacting, you take a breath, reassess, and make a calculated decision. That's the difference between tilt and calm decision-making. When you're on tilt, your emotions take the wheel. It's like being in a poker game where you just lost a big hand and you're itching to get it back, even if it means playing a terrible hand. In trading, that becomes revenge trading, entering positions not because they make sense, but because you want to get even. Here's the thing. Contrast that with a trader who's actually in control. You've entered Tesla at $700 and it's suddenly dropping. Your calm self already knows the plan. Stop loss is set at $680. No panic selling. You stick to the rules. Maybe you take a walk. Check your trading journal. The Slack notification buzzes with market updates, and you just stay composed. The key is self-awareness. Calm decision-making isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about recognizing them and pausing before they run the show. So how do you stay in control consistently? That's what we're getting into next. Let's talk about mastering your emotions and actually leveling up your trading. Imagine this. It's a typical Wednesday morning, sun barely peeking through your blinds, and you're already glued to your screen. You're watching the markets open, and bam! The stock you've been eyeing takes a nosedive. Heart racing, palms sweaty, and you feel this urge to jump in and make it all back. But wait, this is what we call tilt in action, and it can absolutely wreck a trader if they're not careful. Here's the scenario. You entered a position on what you thought was a sure bet at $200. Now it's hovering at $190, and your stop loss is sitting at $185. Every instinct is screaming to double down and average out your losses. But that's the tilt talking, not a rational strategy. So instead, you take a breath, look away from the screen for a second, and let that Slack notification buzz as a little reminder to stay grounded. You decide not to chase the loss. You remind yourself of the plan. Honor your stop loss, evaluate the situation with a clear head. You adjust based on data, not emotion. And honestly, that's the whole game right there. It's not just about cutting losses, it's about staying in control when the market is doing everything it can to rattle you. Now that you're back in the driver's seat, let's get into how building that emotional resilience can seriously level up your trading. Let's look at how to actually master our emotions and sharpen those skills. Picture this. You're sitting at your trading desk, the faint hum of your computer in the background, charts flickering on your screen. A red candle drops, and your heart skips a beat. The urge to chase losses threatens to take over. But here's the thing. Mastering your emotions in those moments is what separates the pros from everyone else. It's not just about executing a trade correctly. It's about executing it with a clear head. So how do you actually get there? It starts with recognizing the signs of emotional interference. You know the feeling. Stakes feel high. Palms are sweating. The market doesn't care about any of that, and it won't wait for you to calm down. Emotional discipline is the answer. Think of it like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Say you entered a position on Tesla at $650 and watched it slide to $640. Your phone's blowing up with Slack notifications, each one a little reminder of the loss. The temptation to double down, or worse, panic sell, is completely real. But instead you take a breath, assess the situation, and stick to your plan. Honestly, emotional mastery might matter more than any technical skill in trading. So ask yourself before we move on, are you ready to make that your edge? Next segment, we'll get into the actual strategies that help you hold that mental clarity even when the market is trying to knock you sideways.